So, both of these come from the concept of limits. Okay? The limit of a function. Now, I'm going to discuss this to you, but not in a rigorous way, not in a, kumbaga, formal way, because ang purpose lang natin, our purpose is only to use basic calculus in order to do the derivation and to understand the derivation from the first principles down to the final formula. And it needs calculus. Okay? Algebra is not sufficient to do physics. At least you have some basic calculus. In fact, Newton invented the calculus for this purpose. That means, from the birth of mechanics itself, Newtonian mechanics, calculus was needed. So if we dumb down to algebra, we are not getting the concept. Okay, algebra-based physics is just more on, it's just more on formula, plug in the given, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to do that in this class. Okay, so since I'm more conceptual, we need calculus. Now, we will not be formal in our approach. In the book, if you look at the books, there are lots of things that I'm going to skip. I'll be concrete the purpose is just to be maybe a functional knowledge of calculus. Okay, it's not a formal knowledge of calculus. At least you know the meaning, the geometric meaning of this, the differentiation and integration. Anyway, let's start with the concept of functions. So I'm sure you have heard of functions in your senior high, right? So tanan siguro, even in your grade 10, maybe grade 9, grade 8, this concept was introduced. Okay? But basically, what does a function do? And why do we need functions? Well, of course, you understand the word function itself. So may function. It has some... when the word function comes into your mind, what can you imagine? Or what goes... na purpose. So function has a purpose na use. It has some process, probably. Okay? So in mathematics, you can think of functions as a machine. A machine is a function. It has a function, right? So you can think of it as a machine in which a machine has an input and it has an output. Okay? So this is now the function. And the input is, we can label this as X. So the machine is F. The output now is F of X. Okay? So this is not F times X, this is F of X. This is, what's inside is called the argument of the function. Okay? So, meaning that you're going to input X here. X could represent any number. Now, the input of a function could be anything. A function could also be complex. It could be daghang klaseng a function, no? But you can think just of a machine. Or you can think of the whole factory as a function. Just like, for example, kaning sardines, canned sardines. You can think of the whole factory as a function. What are the inputs? The inputs could be, in this case, we have a single input function, X, right? For a sardines factory, there are lots of inputs. The sardines, the tomato sauce, including ang lata, the label, whatever is that. And then the final output is, you have one output. Out of the many, you have one output. And that is a canned sardines. So, meaning, in that case, you have now a function f which takes, it could be x, blah, 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 no, y, and so on, no? And outputs a single number, a single value. And that's a canned sardines, no? Okay. Youngstown. Okay? But you may also, there are other also that would take 1 but can output 2 or more. Okay? Well, in general, formally we can write a function as, let's say, a function f which takes, this is a set. I know you have all met the concept of sets, right? Set. So this is the set here where it takes its input. It could be the set of all sardines, the set of all recipes, or sa ba? I don't know, whatever is that. And outputs, meaning to the set of all possible outputs. No, that is another set. Okay? Now, in mathematics, this could be anything. But in general, in a more, specifically in mathematics, this could be, this is a number and another set of numbers. Or it may not even be a number. Okay? We can actually find a function. For example, we can make a function that converts, that maps the letter of the alphabet to the numbers. Okay? With A being 1 and Z being 26. So sa ato pa, unsay kuan ana, that is a function, here a function on the letter of the sabay set of alphabet. Alphabet na lang, English alphabet, to the set of integers or numbers na lang. Counting numbers. Counting numbers. So, for example of that is f of, let's say, A is equal to 1. Follows f of z equals, okay. Now, the thing is, in English alphabet, we have 2 types of characters, capital and small, non-capital. So, meaning f of capital A is also equal to 1. So, meaning here, 2 characters here is mapped into a single variable here. This is called this type of function is called many to one. Many to one. Okay? When we say when it's more than 1, it's already labeled many, no? So it's many to one function. But we can also actually convert this into 1 to 1. For example, we can let the this to be the negative and the positive. We can just say that f of another type of function, we can just use this. F of A is negative 1. F of capital A equals 1. Okay? So, this is now 1 to 1, right? It goes from negative 26 to positive 26. Negative 26 represents Z. So, it's a mapping. Pwede na siya. Or, you can actually just choose f of A equals 1 and f of capital A equals 27, right? So, this would make f of capital Z 52. Sabtan? Okay? So, this is 1 to 1. This is many to 1. So, both of this is what we call 1 to 1. Okay? Now, it could be 1 to many or many to many, but in general, that is called a relation. Okay? As of now, we limit on this one, and we don't distinguish between functions and relation. We don't need to be strict here. Our purpose is just to this is a kumbaga pa unsay tawag ani nga pinaspasay a what do you call this one? A quickie calculus. Lain po paminawon. Pero quickie cal. Oh. So okay. So that's a function, right? So the output may be a number or may not be a number. Okay? Should you need more example? Murag di na, no? Okay na? Okay? Now, here's the thing. Oh, by the way, sulat mo na ako ng ano, no? F of A to B. This is what we call the domain, and this is the range, or the codomain, or the image of the function. Now, of course, you are familiar with the Cartesian coordinate system, right? Cartesian coordinate system. Okay. You have the horizontal and the vertical. Now, if you let the horizontal to be the domain, and this will be the range, okay? For every point in the domain, if this is numbers, if this is a number and this is another number, for every point, for every domain, there's an equivalent range. Let's just assume a one-to-one function. Or actually, it could be, so it could be, so here, it would be another point. So technically, it will form a, what we call a generally a curve, right? It could be smooth curve, meaning it is connected by a curve, or pwede gihapon that you can also have a function which is something like this. Pwede na siya, it can be, okay, but of course, we don't need this, in basic physics, we don't need this type of functions, okay? As of now, we are going all to assume that the function that we are talking about is a regular curve, smooth curve, okay? Okay, nasabdan. Okay, so basically, you will form a, this is now the start of what we call analytic geometry. When you try to geometricize functions, equations. And of course, when this was discovered, we have now a way to study geometry with some, using some algebraic properties. Okay? So, for example, one of the famous function that would give a meaningful figure would be the function f of x equals square root of r squared minus x squared. And this one would give us the upper semicircle. Okay? The plus and minus. So the negative would give you the lower one. Okay? So this is that. Or if you let now the domain to be y, the range to be y, then what you get now would be x squared plus, this equation would lead to x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Meaning that, these are all, remember that each point on this one, on the Cartesian coordinate, is given by x, y. Meaning, this is an equation such that for every point x, y, this must be satisfied. Now, not all points satisfy this one. R is what we call the radius of the circle. So, for example, let's say x squared plus y squared equals 1. Can we check that the point square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2 satisfies, meaning is part of this? And the answer is, well, in order to do that, we have to plug in this one. This is our x and this is our y. So this would be square root of 3 squared plus negative 1/2 squared equals, is this equal to 1? And that would be 9, this is 3 over 4 plus, this is 1/4. Now, is this equal to 1? We don't know. But of course, this is equal to, this is now equal to 1. And meaning that this is part of, this is found in the circle. The circle is not only this, it's the curve. Okay? It's in the circle. Now, how about the point 1, 1? So, 1, 1 is, that is 1 squared plus 1 squared, is this equal to 1? And clearly, 2 is not equal to 1. So, this is not in that. Actually, if this is the circle, this is 1, this is 1 here. 1, 1 is right here, right? Clearly, it's not in the circle. It's not part. So, as this will form a set. You can think of this as a set. Okay? In fact, we can define this as, we can define the circle as the circle S, this is not the standard way of naming a circle, but we can just say that this is the set of an ordered pair xy such that x squared plus y squared equals 1. All the points, now it becomes a set. This is a set. Every curve there is a set. And in mathematics, everything starts with a set. Okay? Even if you go to advanced mathematics, you will always refer to the set. Because it's how you know, if you know the set, the characteristics of that set, you will know a lot about the behavior of functions. Okay? Now, for example, there may be some restriction to functions. Just like, for example, ganiha tong atuang alphabet. Notice that we don't have 0 is not mapped to any value in the integer, in the English alphabet, right? Okay? So, klaro ba ka ni? Noon, 70p man ni siya. 720p. Okay, I'll just, i-change na ko to 1080. Okay. So, wala na untong beautification. Any question? None. Okay. So, a function, this is now, at least you now have an idea of a function. A function will also form it's a mapping from another set to set. Okay? Okay. Now, this is now where the concept of limits come. For example, here, we have sample, we have this one. At this point right here, this is some x equals k. This is k right here. Now, imagine, we will now think of the graph of the function as, let's say, a road. Okay? That we are tracing. Now, as we approach this point, ibig sabihin, as you move to the right, you're approaching x equals k, right? Okay? As you move towards the right, you're approaching x equals k. And also, as you move to the left, you're approaching x equals k. So, as you approach this value right here, you are either approaching it in this direction or in that direction. In that case, both will converge to the same limit. This is now actually, as you approach k, but not yet k, still approaching k, what place are you approaching in the direction of, in the vertical component? So this is now, if this is k, this must be f of k, right? That would mean that as you approach k, okay, in either direction, okay, from the left or from the right, okay, you are approaching f of k. In this case. Now, it could be different because this can be possible. This is k again. This is type of function is possible. But again, as I've said, we are not interested on this type of functions. But I'll just, for illustration, I'm going to discuss this one. Now, as you can see, there are two possibilities, there are two possible limits. If you go from the right, from the left, you're approaching f of k, right? If you go from the right, you're approaching a different value, right? Maybe f of l. So it has, actually, it might be f of k would be here, depende na siya. It could be, na siya i-value dira, and there, it's a hole here, or it could be pwede nga define siya both, or pwede nga wala siya both, no? It's a hole right here. It could be. Okay? But either way, you are defining this value here. Let's just call this y1 and this is y2. You're approaching those values. Okay? But in elementary, in basic physics, this doesn't come out. If it comes out, it's very rare to happen. And although it's natural, but we don't analyze things that way, at least in the elementary level. Okay, so right here, as you can see, this is not the concept of limit. We can say now that the limit of f of x as x approaches k is what? Whatever this one here is. Let's just don't call this at f of k for the reason that will be clear in this next example. Let's just call this value, what should we call this? K, say nindot ani, lambda na lang. Just lambda. It's a Greek letter lambda. Is lambda. Although lambda is f of k, but not all the time it is f of k. For this reason right here, I'll give you an example. F1 of x equals x plus 1, and F2 of x equals x squared minus 1 over x minus 1. Now, these two functions, as you can see, the second function, we can simplify this. Because this can be factored out. This is x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 1. And this cancels out. This is just equal to x plus 1. Now, F2, it doesn't mean that F2 is equal to F1. F2 is equal to F1 in almost all except for 1 point. Because F2, Zx could not be equal to 1. It's not defined at x equals 1. You understand? It's not defined at x equals 1. So, meaning, the graph of this one, if we are going to graph this, basta mas klaro na. Otro. Okay, anyway, if we're going to graph this, this is 1, x minus 1, x plus 1. So this would be the function x plus 1, no? And the graph of the second function is also that, except that at x equals 1, it has a hole right there. It's not defined. Okay? So that means that F2 of 1 is not defined. But there is F1 of 1. And this is just equal to what? This is just 2. In fact, this one right here is just 2, right? Okay. But in this case, let's look at F1. The limit, okay, by the way, we write this one, how do we write this? The limit of f of x as x approaches k is lambda. We can write this as the limit of f of x as x approaches k equals lambda. Meaning that, okay, we are now looking for this lambda. In many cases, lambda is just f of k. Okay? In many cases, lambda is just equal to f of k. But not all, as you can see in this example right here. But this is the good thing about limit, because whether the function is defined on that point or not, as long as the function approaches that point, the function has a limit on that point. Okay? So, why is this not equal to this? Because when we derive it 1, this is equal to this. Except only for 1. remember that the rule of cancellation is only when you cancel up and down, meaning that the denominator should not be equal to 0. This definition would fail, this rule would fail when x equals 1 because the denominator becomes 0, right? So 0 over 0 is not defined. So that's why it's okay. This cancellation is okay for any other values of x except for 1. And that's why this one will have a hole on, it will trace the same. Now here, let's look at the limit of f1 of x as x approaches k, both from the right and the left. Okay? I will no longer distinguish the limits between, since we don't discuss functions that has disconnects that has jumps. Okay? I will no longer distinguish between right limit and left limit. So here, this is clearly just f of k, right? In this case, 1. F of 1. But the limit, okay, so in this case, the limit of f1 of x as x approaches 1 equals f of 1, which is equal to 2. But how about the limit of f2 of x as x approaches 1? This is not f of 1 because f of 1, when you substitute there, it doesn't work. Okay? So what we're going to do is apply directly. There is in general, I haven't told you how to do the limit. Okay? How to really apply the limit. Okay. So first, let's do this one right here. This is the limit as x approaches 1 of, what is f of 1 of x? This is x plus 1. And you can now substitute this one. Substitute x to x. I mean 1 to x. And clearly this is just 2. How about this one? This is the limit as x approaches to 1 of x squared minus 1 over x minus 1. And we could not substitute yet the limit because it will create the 0. We can factor out, so this is now the limit as x approaches 1 of, this is x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 1. Now we can cancel this. Now you would say, sir, you said that you cannot cancel that because x equals 1. Remember here that we are approaching 1. We are not at 1. The limit doesn't mean that we are at that. The limit approaches 1, meaning that we are approaching 1. We are not, x is not equal to 1, but approaching 1, meaning this one is valid. We are sure that this is valid. Okay? That this can be done. Okay? So therefore, this must be equal to the limit of x approaches 1 of x plus 1, which is again 2. We can now substitute it here. We can we can cancel this because taking the limit, we are sure now that we are not at 1. Okay? We are just approaching 1. Okay, any questions? So sa'yo lang, Matt, no? Okay ra? Klaro, di ba? Okay? So, I'm not going to teach you to evaluate limits. Basta, it's just like you can simplify the function until such time that you can now substitute the limit. But of course, there are times that in which the limit does not exist. But again, since we are not, our purpose is just to use calculus in our physics derivation, we will assume that every function that we deal with, the limit exists. Okay? So we are not going to, because as I've said, this is quickical. Okay? Now, let's review the concept of lines. The linear equation. This is important in our analysis. The equation of a line. The equation of a line. Okay? The equation of the line is given by y equals mx plus b. This is in the slope-intercept form, right? Now, m now is actually given by, we can solve m given 2 points. Given 0.1 and 0.2, given by x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. The slope is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and this is equal to delta y over delta x. That is the slope. Meaning, something like this. This is delta x, and this one right here is delta y. The slope would tell you the ratio of delta y to delta x. This is a measure of steepness, right? The larger is the delta y compared to x. Kung makita ninyo, the farther is m from 1, meaning very large, m is very far from 1. The farther is m from 1 means that the more that y is, that's very steep, right? But the smaller it is, the farther is m from 1 in the between 0 to 1. At least of the absolute value. We're just anak lang sa no. The more that y is out measured by x, so you have a almost flat, right? If m becomes 0, actually m equals 0 means that you have a 0 y, so meaning y is just right here, right? So you have a horizontal line. An infinite slope is that when naana siya dito, you get now infinite because x would not change, so delta x would be 0. But y changes, so that's an infinite slope. Now, it could be positive or negative. Positive is negative is meaning positive increasing x, increasing y. Negative is increasing x, decreasing y. Okay? So, this is a positive slope and this is a negative slope. Okay? Now, let's take a function f of x, any function f of x. Take 2 points on the function. Okay? 2 points on the function. We can connect these points by a line. This line has an equation, right? So, of course, we can determine these 2 points. This is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. So that function, we can find the equation of this line, right? How do we find the equation of that line? Well, it's easy. This is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, x minus x1. I think this is, yeah. Okay? So, you can know the equation of this line. Okay? By using this 2-point form of the equation of the line. Meaning here, given 2 points, what is the equation of the line that connects the 2 points? Again, here, since a line are made up of points, then the line is a set, right? This is a set, this is another set. Okay. Now, of course, this one right here is x1, and right here, this one right here is x2. Now, notice what happens if we adjust x2. Here, you have that point, right? You have that line, and as it changes, our line, right? Our x2 is changing, right? And it's getting closer to 1, x1. Okay? Now, the slope now of the function, the slope of this function, what is this? I mean, the slope of this, the equation of this line. The slope is, again, delta y over delta x. Or what is delta y? Delta y is y2. What is y2? Y2 is f of x2, right? Minus f of x1 over x2 minus x1. So, x2 minus x1. But we want to express this in terms of let's call this one delta, the delta. Notice that since delta x equals x2 minus x1, therefore x2 is just equal to x1 plus delta x, right? Okay? So, this is now equal to f of x1 plus delta x, or we'll just use x instead of x1. Okay? We'll just use now x. So, f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x. Now, notice that what we have here, if we take the limit, okay? We can call this now delta f over delta x, right? Now, what happens to delta f over delta x? We are interested to the limit of delta f over delta x as delta x approaches 0. When we say delta x approaches 0, meaning that x2, this is equivalent to the limit of delta f over delta x as x2 approaches x1, right? Nakuha, sabda niyo? As x2 approaches x1. Okay? So, we are interested with this one. And notice what have you noticed? As this one, this is, okay. As this one gets closer and closer to this one, as you can see, as x2 approaches 1, and as when x2 becomes 1, what is that line that touches a curve in 2 points? That's called a secant line, right? In your geometry. I'm sure you're familiar with that one. The secant line. But as you approach x2 to x1, in fact, when x2 becomes x1, the secant line now becomes a tangent line. It only touched the curve at 1 point. So, meaning that as x2 approaches x1, the secant line approaches the tangent line to the curve at that point. What do we have there? Meaning that if this is the function and this is the point right here that we are evaluating, this is now fx, we are now, as delta x approaches 0, we are approaching this tangent line. And this tangent line is very important. What is the importance of that? Because if you're traveling in a road, you are facing in the direction, if you're tracing a curve, as you turn, what you are facing at that any instant is the tangent line, right? Tama, di ba? No? As you can see, this is a road right here, di ba? Oh, this is a road. At this point, your car is going this way. Where are you facing? There, right? It's tangent line. Siya. And it's very important because we can now have a sense of direction. If we imagine the function as a road to be traced, then we can now know the directionality of this. Sabta ninyo? Okay. So that's the importance of tangent. Have you understood katong mga stem? Kisa itong stem diri gikan? Nawala na sila. Okay? So, anyway, sabta ninyo ni sa una. Ha? Sa una. Okay? We are interested with this limit. Now, for example, let's take this just a concrete example. For example, the function f of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. We want now to find delta f over delta x as delta x approaches 0. We can think of this as, okay, we want to find now what is the slope of the function at the point. What is the slope of the function? What is the m of, I'll just write m of f of x at x equals 1. Okay? This is a parabola. Okay? That is a parabola. I don't know asang vertex. Sana you can solve for the vertex, but let's say that is a parabola. X equals 1 is, I don't know where is it. Maybe x equals 1 is right here. So we want to know the slope of this line, right? Okay? The equation of the slope of that line. Okay? At x equals 1. Okay? So what would we do? We cannot answer this one yet. Okay? But we can actually put, in order to do this, we must find delta f, delta x, and evaluate, because delta f and delta x, we know that, what is delta f, delta x? We know that delta f over delta x is a slope, right? And it becomes now the slope of the tangent line of f of x when delta x approaches 0, right? When it is exactly, when this is 0. Okay? So we can just evaluate this, and in order to evaluate it at x equals 1, we must take the limit, because if not, then we need another point, right? We need second line. We need another point to find the slope. Okay? So, okay, to do that, meaning m now, which is the limit now of delta f over delta x as delta x approaches 0. So what is f of, we have f of delta, asa na to ganiha? This is, nawala naman. Okay, I'll just write it again. This is f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x. But what is f of x plus delta x? That would be, okay, this is 2 times x plus delta x squared minus 2 times x plus delta x plus 1 minus f of x, which is 2x squared minus 2x plus 1 over delta x. Okay. Here, we are evaluating the limit. This is limit. Limit din, no? There's a limit there. As delta x approaches 0. Okay, so this is now equal to the limit as delta x approaches 0 of, okay, this is 2 times, what is this? X squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared minus 2x minus 2 delta x plus 1 minus 2x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay, over delta x. And this will cancel out as a, times a. It becomes a plus, right? It becomes minus 1. So this will cancel out. No? And 2x squared will, pag kuha ninyo, this becomes now 2x squared 4x delta x 2 delta x squared, right? When you distribute the 2 inside. Okay? Now, I will not be in detail sa algebra here because I assume that you can do algebra. If not, then you have to review some algebra. Okay? So, mao ni siya. Now, this will cancel out. What is left now is katulang na delta x, right? So, what is we now have here? The limit as delta x approaches 0 of 4x delta x plus 2 delta x squared minus 2 delta x over delta x. We could not yet substitute the limit, the limiting value 0. Why? it's still undefined, right? So what we want is we can now distribute delta x. So this is now as delta x approaches 0, 4x over delta x, that becomes now 4x, right? And 2 plus 2 delta x squared over delta x, that is 2 delta x, and minus 2. Right? And what we have now is we can now substitute delta x, right? Tama? So now, we have this. When we substitute delta x equals 0, only this will vanish. So this is 4x. So our m now, we can call this m of x, the slope of the tangent line at any point x in this function. So we can just call this as for now, m of f, okay? This is 4x minus 2. And in fact, okay, this is now at x equals 1, m of 1 now, the slope at x equals 1 would be equal to 4 times 1 minus 2, that is now equal to 2. So, mo ni siya. Nadiri siya, no? That's equal to 2. That's the slope of the tangent line. How about the equation of the tangent line? Well, we can find out the equation of the tangent line, of this equation, the equation of this line itself. We already have the slope, right? What do we need? We need a point. What's the point? Well, we have x equals 1. And what is y? For x equals 1, what is f of x? F of 1, that would be 2 times 1, 2, minus 2, 0. What's 1, right? So we have the point 1, 1. Tama? So the equation of the tangent line now would be what? Y minus 1 equals m, which is 2 times x minus 1. So y minus 1 equals 2x minus 2. That is now equal to 2x minus y minus 1 equals 0. That's the equation of the tangent line. Or y is equal to, pwede gyapon, y is equal to 2x minus 1. Pwede gyapon ala, no? So that is now the equation of this line. So this is now a very powerful tool. We just have found a way of finding the steepness of whatever curve is that. Di ba dati wala? Oh, saan? Oh, sunod na lang. Next klase na lang ka. Sunod dong. Wala pa. Okay. So we have now a way of determining the steepness of a slope. Dati ang line lang, di ba? By the slope. We can determine the steepness of a line. But given any curve, we can now find the steepness, the slope of any curve at any point using this. And in fact, this is now called this one right here, m of x, what we define m of x, which was equal to the limit of delta f over delta x as delta x approaches 0, is what we call df over dx, the derivative of the function f. That's the first derivative. Meaning now that when you are taking the derivative, okay, you are actually finding the tangent line. So in general, we can make a formula, we can have a formula, di na nako ihatag ni siya, di na nako i-derive di ay. We can go directly right here. This d over dx now is like an operator, d over dx, acting on a function. When it acts on a function, it changes the function into another function. And what is that another function? That another function is the slope of its tangent line at any point. Nakuha? So given a function, any function f of x, you would get now another function which is its slope. This is f of x. And we can now have a function, another function which is df over dx. And this another function is the slope of this function at any point. For example, at this point right here, the slope of f of x is, is this. The height of that. Nakuha? Whatever is that. The height of this one. That's the slope of that. This one right here is negative, tama? So we are expecting this, murag ani ni siya diri, no? Becomes negative. It's below, right? Okay? So this is a very powerful tool, and this is what actually this is the start of calculus. In fact, the start of calculus is in the limits. So what we are taking is that d over dx is just an operator. But in order to calculate that operator, we must evaluate the limit. Nasabtan? Okay? Now, of course, just a famous formula. We will end right here now. I'll give just this formula. I will no longer derive this one, but you can derive it. D over dx of a function, any function xn, x raised to n is just equal to n x times n minus 1. You can derive this one. Okay? D over dx of cosine of x or sine of x, una sa sine. Sine of x is cosine of x. D over dx of cosine of x equals negative sine of x. D over dx of e to the raised to x, exponential, is e to the x. As for now, okay, so if you use f of delta x, you can derive all of this, but I'm not going to derive them anymore. Okay, you can find the derivation. This is your assignment. Find the derivation of this. Dapat mangutana ko, dapat nakabalo mo. Nakuha. Next meeting, you should know why was this derived. Okay? So finally, we have covered differentiation. Next meeting, we will be discussing about integration. Sabtan? Okay.